It's time once again for the Maple Grove City Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from Northwest Community Television. Thanks for joining us. And as you see, we have the new city administrator with us, Heidi Nelson. Welcome, Heidi. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about Heidi's background in just a second, but also a council meeting 17 minutes long, which is par for the course for the city of Maple Grove. Also, we'll take a look around town and talk about some things that maybe will be coming up in the city of Maple Grove. But first, welcome once again.
Thank you
for joining us here.
Yes.
How has it been since the middle of December? Just getting your feet wet, I suppose?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I think it's going to take a little while to kind of get around to meet everybody and kind of learn the culture of the organization as well as just the culture of the city. And so I've just been spending a lot of time talking with folks and certainly meeting with all the department heads and spending more time talking with the council just to kind of understand what their concerns are and what their areas of focus are. So it's, you know, it tends to be a little bit of drinking from a fire hose initially.
Yes, I bet.
But, you know, I knew that coming in, so you sort of prepare yourself for that and just understand that you're going to have to just dedicate the time and dig in and ask all those questions just so you get a good understanding of where we're headed and what the history is.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your history for people that haven't been watching Channel 12 or reading the paper. You come from the city of Wayzata. Tell us a little bit about your time there, your background there.
Yeah, so I served at the city of Wayzata for a little over, it was about 3.5 years. And there's city manager. Wayzata kind of has a bigger reputation, but it's really a small town. And so population-wise, it's about 4,000, but it plays a little bit bigger than that because it has a commercial tax base that's pretty significant. So from a tax base perspective, it's a community that's similar to like a Brooklyn Center or Champlin, that kind of thing, Hopkins. And so even though very small population, it sort of had some of those big city issues that you deal with in a downtown and commercial areas and whatnot. So was there for about 3.5 years. Great community, great organization. You know, it's always tough to leave a community. You grow to love the people and you grow to love the community. But you know, this was just an opportunity that, quite frankly, I had watched for a number of years and thought, you know, when the day comes, I hope the timing's right. And lo and behold, it was. And so I'm just really, really excited to be here.
Prior to Wayzata, you had a little work here in the northern suburbs. Tell us about that.
I did. Yeah, you know, I started my career in local government back in the late 90s, 97, with the city of Blaine as an intern, and kind of worked my way up there. And then I went to work for the city of Ramsey on the north side for about 10 years. So very familiar with this North Metro area. I live up in this neck of the woods. I live in St. Michael. So I sort of, you know, kind of live my life up here in the Northwest Metro. So very familiar with this north side and the issues up here. And I think one of the benefits of having gone to Wayzata and do that work down there is the opportunity to work in Hennepin County.
Sure.
Previously, my career had been all in Anoka County, and so there's always county-city interaction things, and so that's been helpful. But yeah, it's nice to be back up here in kind of the North Country.
Well, welcome again.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the program. So our mission is to keep you up to date on what's new in the city of Maple Grove and also recap the most recent council meeting. We'll get to the meeting in just a second, but there's some things that have been in the news in the city of Maple Grove that people have been wondering about, talking about. The first is bus service and a unique bus service that goes up and down 494. Give us a little background about that and why that is something people in the city of Maple Grove are very excited about.
Yeah, so it's called the S2S transit bus service, so suburb to suburb. And so this is a service that'll run, basically connects Maple Grove down to Shakopee, and it runs 694 over to 169 and then down to the 394 corridor, and then you can get down either continue down 169 or the 494 corridor, connecting to the Southwest Station in Eden Prairie and then all the way out to Shakopee. I think the impetus of the service was really to try to connect where people live to employment centers. And we've always known that, there's a lot of folks that live in, they maybe live in Brooklyn Park, but they work in Plymouth, or they live in Maple Grove, but they work in Eden Prairie. It's those kinds of connections that currently, from a bus service perspective, really hard to do.
Unless you want to go downtown.
You got to go downtown and then come all the way back. And so I think this is a demonstration project funded by the state for a couple of years, just to see, is there a market for this? Will people use it? Are we going to serve a need that's currently unmet? And so a lot of measure will be done along the way to kind of make sure that this is a good service. But I think it's real exciting. And the cost of doing bus service over kind of fixed rail or light rail, much more affordable. And so if you can sort of meet getting folks to their areas of employment on a bus, you know, I think it's worth a try. So this is something we're going to really be promoting from, you know, the city of Maple Grove and
Right.
Maple Grove Transit perspective. Really want to encourage people to give it a try. If this fits into your daily routine, you know, just take some pressure off the highways and whatnot. So you'll see a lot of promotion from the city of Maple Grove about this,
Great.
and we're pretty excited about it and glad to be a part of the coalition to do it.
What role does Maple Grove Transit play? Are there Maple Grove buses involved in this, or will it be pickups, drop-offs at both of the stations in Maple Grove?
Yep, so both at the Maple Grove, primarily at the Maple Grove Transit Center.
Okay.
And then at and then it goes on down the line. All the information is on the website. But and Maple Grove didn't take the lead on
Right.
establishing the service, but we're certainly part of the coalition, and you can access the service from the transit center, you know, just right off of 694-94 there.
Excellent. And
Yep.
we'll give you some links to the city's website later on, so if
Yep.
you want to take a look at that information, you can certainly do that. So
Yep.
get out there and enjoy that service and see if it meets your needs. Skating. Skating has been a tough thing so far this winter, but
Yep.
not in Maple Grove.
Not in
We've
Maple
got
Grove.
the skating loop. Give us
Yes.
some information about how that has gone over since it opened up.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, I think this weather, this season, it certainly has been nice for driving and shopping and
Right.
getting around and doing all those things, but not great for doing outside
No.
skating rinks. So lo and behold, you know, the first season of the skating loop at Central Park hit right at a time where really none of the other outdoor rinks
Right.
in the area have been open. So high level of interest and use there. Terry Just, our parks director, gave us some statistics here. 14,000 users in the first month, 2,000
Fantastic.
skate rentals. Just really ahead of what they kind of projected the use would be. Hard to tell what piece of that, you know, it's new, and then, you know, there isn't
Right.
other facilities available right now. They've had a hard time kind of keeping up with the hot cocoa and the concession
Sure,
stand.
that's good side.
So, but that's all good, and I had the opportunity to be out there a few times with my family over the holidays.
I was
and
going to
just-
ask if you've been skating
Oh,
yet.
yeah, just a
Good.
great experience, and they've done a great job. They have the music and the kind of the lights at night and whatnot. So it's just a really great, great environment, great family thing. You know, it's free, so you can come out. You have to pay to rent the skates
Right.
and pay for concessions and all those kinds of things. But you know, clearly this park has been a long-term vision for the community.
Yes.
But you know, they just really hit it out of the park with this one, and it's you know, for all the seasons, it's really a great place to get out and enjoy. So if you haven't been out there skating,
Yep.
I recommend it.
Give it a try. So
Yep.
it is, again, at the Central Park of Maple Grove. Information on the city's website about ways you can get involved, the skate rental, and some of the things with concessions and hours that you might need to know. So from the winter, we go to a summer topic. The
Yes.
farmers market in Maple Grove does not stop when it gets cold. They
Yep.
go inside. That continues to go. Give us a little update on some of the upcoming dates.
So we have one coming up just here in the next week or so, January 14th. This is held on Thursday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. And for the winter, of course, it moves inside to the community center. You know, and I, just reading as a newcomer here, reading the list of the vendors that are there, wonderful. And so if you haven't been out, or if you make it your regular routine in the summer and you haven't in the winter, come on out. It's really a great opportunity to get some unique kind of home farm-oriented products. Future dates, February 11th, March 10th, and then April 14th. And so then that rounds out the winter season. And then hopefully as we get into May, we'll be back
That's
into
right.
outdoor
Why not
weather.
head
It's
back outside?
right around the corner.
Couple other reminders about that. There is music on occasion, so you can just stop by and sit and enjoy that as you shop as well. And they do accept credit cards, so if you're thinking of shopping that way, sometimes with farmers market you don't think that's available, but is
Yep.
in the city of Maple Grove.
Yep.
Great. So there's some updates of things happening in town. We'll get to a few other items longer term in just a few minutes, but the council meeting.
Yes.
Let's take a moment to talk city council. 17 minutes. The first meeting of the year is always an interesting one.
Right.
More organizational, correct? What are some of the things that have to happen that first meeting of the year?
Yeah. So, you know, maybe just some fun things, how the meeting started out. So, the Cub Scout Pack 742 came to do the presentation of the colors and the Pledge of
Great.
Allegiance, and it was really it was great to have them there. They really take that seriously, and they put a lot of effort into it. They were there early practicing, so really want to say thank you to that Cub Scout group
Sure.
for coming and doing that. And then kind of the tradition is at the first meeting of the year also to have a pastor from a local church come in and do
Right.
the invocation, and this year it was Pastor Scott Bowles of Maple Ridge Church, so I want to thank them as well
Good.
for being willing to participate. But so that was kind of how the meeting got kicked off, kind of some fun elements to
Very nice.
kick off the year right. But yes, the first meeting of the year is really that organizational business where the city appoints the various council members to serve on various organizations, liaisons to boards, those kinds of things,
Right.
where staff needs to be appointed to serve as representation to certain organizations. So we take care of all that kind of routine business, appointing the city attorney, designating banks, official newspapers, all those kinds of things. So very routine business, and so that, I think, what helps to yield a very brief meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, so we disposed of that business. The council also took a few moments to just kind of reflect on the state of the city. They spent some time, really thanking the community and those who serve on boards and commissions and give of their time to the community to make this a really great place to be. And they also spent time talking about, sort of the service of the staff, and that, even some of the things that we take for granted that nobody sees get done, but certainly we understand when they don't get done.
Right.
And that they really appreciate the effort that's made on a daily basis, to just really make Maple Grove, kind of a really clean, safe community, a great place to live. So.
And if people miss that information from the council meeting, there's another opportunity to get that state of the city, kind of a look back at the last year and look ahead to the next year. The North Hennepin Chamber each year puts on a State of the City event. It is on Thursday, January 14th. At Edinburgh, USA in Brooklyn Park, and the mayor will be there, and you've seen some of the material. How is the speech coming together this year for the mayor?
I think it'll be great.
Perfect.
He has a lot of really positive, good things to talk about this year. A couple of really key park projects, the Central Park opening, the gymnasium project, continued development opportunities happening, and then just some reflection on the service that's being provided to the residents. So
Very
I think
good.
it's coming along well, and it'll be a good event.
Excellent. We'll have
Yes.
that on Channel 12 and also available on our website too, and we'll get that up to the city of Maple Grove so you can not only see what's happening in Maple Grove, but neat opportunity to hear from different cities. And I suppose that helps you as a city administrator as well to kind of get a feel for what your neighbors are doing.
Yep.
Positive for you to hear that information?
Absolutely. I think particularly, just in our suburbs, our neighbors are our friends here, and we work together a lot on various projects. I mean, the bus service is an example.
exactly.
You have to be able to work with your neighboring communities and sort of collaborate on projects. We should be doing things together. It makes sense. And so, this is a great opportunity for me to kind of reintroduce myself to some of these folks. I do know a lot of them from my last time up here on the north side, but a good opportunity to reintroduce myself and get acquainted and then understand what's happening in their community as well.
Excellent. So
Yep.
some of that information, again, a part of the council meeting, but you'll have another chance to hear that. Other items at the council meeting?
Sure. So just from a development perspective, the council did look at a concept stage plan for a PUD for Lawndale Estates. It's a development that was proposed kind of at the northwest corner of County Road 30 in Lawndale, kind of up on the northwest side.
Right.
I think the concern, it ended up being denied. I think the concern there was just kind of over the size of it was a small lot, single family development, about 30 lots. Just the size of the lots and the frontage, the width of the lots, and felt like it was a little bit too much for the site. So it was denied, but the developer was encouraged to kind of take another swing at it down the road. So I think we'll see something come back on that one there, but right now I think it just wasn't quite the right product for the site. So
Very good.
yeah. Other just kind of routine, engineering items were taken care of that night. We talked a little bit about the council appointments and staff and whatnot, but we also renewed some board and commission appointments and then made some new appointments to the boards and commissions as well. So most of those are kind of up to full speed. I do know they are still in the process of kind of finalizing some of the park and trail board appointments, and so we'll probably see some of those coming forward here in January and February as well.
Are there other openings? I know on a regular basis we would talk about it's always the right time to say you're interested in being a part of the city as far as a commission. So you encourage people to fill out applications and really tell you about their interest on an ongoing basis. Are there openings now, and should people be doing that process?
Well, we've kind of gone through the process of filling most of the vacancies, but we do encourage people, we keep applications on file for a year. And so if you have an interest, come on in, fill out an application, and it'll get considered when, when the annual process occurs for vacancies. But, I'm real excited to see the level of engagement in this community, and that it's always great when you see residents who are willing to step up and they truly care about the community, and they want to serve to make it better and to keep it the way it is as well. So I think that I'm really encouraged by what I see for the folks that are stepping up, and we really appreciate that. We're, staff, we're better with those folks working with us, and so yeah, so
Get some other minds involved in the process. Maybe throughout the year, as we have a chance, we can talk about some of those commissions, because there are quite a few in the city of Maple Grove. So if people don't know, we might have a chance to touch on some of those as we move throughout the year. Other items at the meeting?
Yeah, so we set a couple public hearings. We have a couple new liquor licenses coming forward. You'll hear more about these on January 19th. But we have Chanticleer Pizza Grill, and that's going to be at off of County Road 30, 16415 County Road 30. So that'll be a new one coming forward. And then also India House, and that's over in the Fountains area. So a couple new restaurants coming forward, and so you'll hear more from those. The actual public hearing will occur on the 19th of January. And just as of note, that meeting gets pushed today because of the Martin Luther King holiday. Yes.
On the Tuesday. Very good.
That's right. Yes. Other items, we did spend a little bit of time talking about the upcoming comprehensive plan update. Every community here that's under Met Council jurisdiction will have to go through that comp plan update for their land use planning and transportation planning, parks planning, those kinds of things. And so we really have about 3 years from now to get that done, but it's a pretty long process, and you want to have your council involved in your boards and commissions and have opportunities for community engagement around that. So we're going to get going on outlining a process and getting some committees involved. I think the primary focus this year will be really, taking another look at the gravel mining area and seeing if any tweaks need to be done there from a land use perspective, or what we want to see there, or what we think the market will bring. The other area of focus will be up in the 610 corridor, the new opportunities that are there because of the transportation improvements that are being completed. So I think the focus will probably be, we need to take an overall look at everything, but kind of 2 different areas where we need to apply some special attention and really think long term about, what's the best type of land use and development that we want to see up in those areas.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, so a nice, neat council meeting as usual in the city of Maple Grove, and as Heidi mentioned, the next meeting is on a Tuesday, and we'll give you that information in just a few minutes. While we have a little time, let's talk more about that comprehensive plan and just a little bit about economic development.
Yep.
That is something that as you step into this new seat, you're taking a look at. Tell us a little bit about that idea, and it's kind of a review process for that area.
Yeah, it is. So one of the things through the interview process with the council that they focused on was the area of economic development, and clearly that's an area that Al had spent a lot of his time and energy focused on as well. So they wanted to make sure that whoever came into this position had a good background in that area. I've done quite a bit of economic development work, and I like doing real estate work, and so that really interests me. So that was really kind of a key component of coming here as well. But when we get to looking at those specific areas with gravel mining and 610, it's really kind of delving into what kind of development can happen here? What are the costs associated with that? Do we want to try to incent certain types of development, and what does that mean? The city has been very successful in development occurring here, and sometimes if you want a specific kind of development, or more of a corporate campus or something like that, I think everybody wants sort of that Class A office type material, and what does that mean, and how do we bring them here? So we're going to take a look at some of those things and see what it means for the balance of the gravel mining area, and then up on the 610 corridor as well. There's other transportation improvements that have happened over the past year. The 494 will be completed this next fall, which really, that's a big help, just connecting us, down the west side. And then some other more collector streets like Vicksburg and whatnot, and kind of connecting some of those more industry areas as well. So I think there's lots of opportunity, and the good news is it'll come over the next couple of decades. And so we have a little bit of time here to kind of take a step back and say, okay, what do we want these things to be, and what are we willing to do about it? So I'm excited about that.
From a standpoint of residents, they hear economic development and they might not understand the importance of that to a city. Why, from a resident standpoint, should I encourage my city administrator and council to pay a lot of time with economic development? Does it help me as a resident in the end?
Well, I think it does in a number of ways. Clearly, there's always the tax benefit, is that commerce and industry pay a fair share of the property taxes, which can make the residential taxes more affordable. And so I think that's always kind of one benefit that we focus on. I think it's also part of a well-rounded community.
Sure.
You want to have places where people can work in the community with good jobs, good paying jobs close by, and have that industry happening there. From a broader global perspective, we want to be part of the regional economy, and we want to make sure that we're providing space for that regional economy to flourish. So I kind of see it as part of the whole package, particularly for a community like Maple Grove. There are clearly communities that are more bedroom communities that and they haven't grown up in that fashion. But Maple Grove has a great employment base today, a great commercial base today. And I think there's opportunities, in the new corridors to think about that there as well.
Let's talk about those two areas, the gravel mine and 610, related to the legislature this year. Are there issues that related to those two will have to be addressed, or you would like to have addressed? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we have some work to do down at the Capitol this year. Two different areas of focus. On the 610 side, there is remaining funding that's needed to complete all of the roadway connections. So, we've made it to 94 now, and we've got a couple of the connections done, but now it's kind of bringing the whole project full circle. So about $45 million worth of road construction that remains to kind of make that full service up there, and then provide more access to the land in and around that area. So that'll be a legislative item this year. In addition, in the last couple of years, a TIF district was created in the gravel mining area to kind of deal with some of the sort of development costs that are up and above what the market will bear. And it's really about reclaiming the land from the gravel mining. So there was a district created. We need to tweak some of that language, so we've got that in the pipeline. So we'll be working at the legislature on that issue as well. But those are kind of the two primary areas of focus.
And my guess would be one of your early meetings here has been with some of the representatives from this area. So you've already got their ear a little bit.
Yeah, that groundwork has been laid, and I've done quite a bit of work at the legislature in the past, so understand what kind of effort that takes, and the time that you need to put in to do that, and so look forward to that opportunity again this year.
In a bigger picture for economic development, you really have, as I see it, three legs to kind of balance what the city wants, what the residents themselves want, and then what the developers are willing to do. How have you juggled that in the city of Wayzata, and do you see some parallels to what might have to happen in the city of Maple Grove? Because I would guess that has to be a tough thing from a city standpoint, because you have your dream, but the residents might say yes, no, maybe not, and the developers maybe have the final choice, am I going to come to you or not?
Am I going to invest or not?
How does that work? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I think what helps is if the city is pretty clear up front about what it wants to see and what its program is. What are the costs of the development? What kind of services are going to be provided, that kind of thing, just so that we're clear about our vision up front. That's helpful. I think that helps the developer to kind of understand what the game plan is when they come in the door. And from a resident perspective, I think how residents engage on development projects. So for instance, through this comp plan process, I think it's important that we have some community engagement around what is it that 610 corridor looks like? You know, we see as you look north up the corridor, there's a lot more industry coming down from the south from Rogers and Dayton. And so when you think about the relationship of that land when it hits Maple Grove,
Right.
well, what does that want to be up there? You know, and some of those are more warehousey type uses that don't necessarily create a bunch of jobs.
Right.
So we need to think about that too, is that, you know, you can build a lot of, you know, more warehouse type things, but, you know, what goal is it we're trying to achieve? So I think the city, you know, I think the city has a history of being pretty clear about what it wants and how it wants to get there. And so I think it's just kind of rechecking that and restating that, and then making sure that there's opportunities for community engagement along the way.
And I would guess the city being clear helps the developer, and
yeah.
in the end helps the residents as well, from the highs and lows of, well, we heard this might be going to happen. Is that going to happen? The developer's talking about it,
Yep.
and they get all excited that something new might come, and then maybe it doesn't fit with the city's plan.
Right.
But your philosophy is city be out front,
Yep.
help the developers understand, so really when they come in with something,
Yeah.
it's within the guidelines of what the city would like to see.
Yeah, yeah, that's always the goal. We don't
Doesn't always
We don't
happen.
always get there ahead of time, but you know that's the goal, is just to have a clear vision. And then it helps from a staff perspective too, is that when we're out talking with folks and we're out meeting with
Right.
people, and you know people call to test the waters to see, well, what do you think about this here? And so if we have a better understanding of what the vision is, and if that's clear, we can be better stewards of that,
Right.
and do a better job.
Final couple minutes we have, because again, we'll talk more about economic development as we move along throughout the year. Let's talk a little bit about your next month or two. Part of, I know, your mission is to get to know the community and maybe some of the organizations a little bit more. Is that part of the contact here, is to try to find where the Rotary is and who the Lions are and some of those? Tell us about that effort.
Yeah, so I've already been going to a couple of the Rotary meetings. I've always been involved with Rotary where I've been. I think it's kind of an important community organization, great way to get connected with the community. I'm also going to be attending an upcoming Lions Club meeting. Councilmember Phil Leith is very active there, and that's great. I haven't been a member of the Lions. My dad was a Lions Club member for many, many years, and so it's certainly an organization I'm familiar with. But certainly connecting with those community organizations, the chambers have meetings set up with those folks just to kind of connect and understand how those relationships work. So a lot of time just focused on meeting with folks and listening, and it's so important to kind of understand the history of what's happened, or you know, and what the issues are, so that you know you don't kind of repeat history again.
Exactly.
That's the goal, is to not do that. So that is kind of up front. You know, we talked a little bit about these legislative issues. The session will start in March, so that's kind of a quick up to speed, because we have some work to do there, and so making sure I kind of understand the history of that and digging those issues out a little bit.
County level, you obviously know the county people and have had some touch base, MnDOT and the fine folks there that deal with a few of your roadways up here.
Yeah, so that's been good, is there's a lot of sameness there. And so not very much runway in terms of, you know, they all knew I was coming up here and said, we'll see you when you get to Maple Grove.
Excellent.
And so that's good. We've had, you know, had been working on a big county project down in Wayzata, big 101 project. And so got to know those folks quite closely through that, and we'll be working with them again up here. So
fantastic.
Yeah, so I think it'll be good.
Well, thank you again for your time today.
You're
Good
welcome.
to see you once again,
Thank
and
you
we
for
will
having
keep
me.
you up to date in the city of Maple Grove on what's happening in the council. And as you can see, Heidi has a lot of background and information to keep you up to date on, so we'll do that on a regular basis. Let's talk about that next council meeting date. We mentioned it a few times. It is on the Tuesday, January 19th, because of the holiday. 7:30 at the Government Center. You see the city's website on the top of the screen. Some more information about the farmers market or that bus service that's coming soon. You can certainly go there. 494-6000 is the phone number. And the viewer response line. Heidi is so excited to get your calls. If you have questions or comments about the show or things maybe you'd like to know a little bit more about, 763-533-1710. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the Maple Grove City Report.